that there are both the righteous and the wicked. And it is in these days when we have to become more consciously aware of what is going on around us. Now that doesn't mean that you go and tune into more news. What it means is that you recognize and accept that in your own world, yes, things are changing. Not just with the planet, but with people. We are all going to reach a point where many things are going to be revealed to us, and that is one of the reasons why I want to talk about the Book of Enoch. It's a good example of how what people thought what they knew may be incorrect or inaccurate, but only because of information that may have been omitted in certain texts. You see, context is very important with any of these ancient texts. You need to have a good read-through of the entire material, not to mention the duplicate texts found around the world. For example, think about what is common knowledge concerning Adam and Eve. Let me tell you folks, a lot went on in that garden. There's a lot more context to the story, and you only realize that when you look into these other texts. Nowhere in the Bible does it say, read only the Bible and that's it. Some people say that. Oh, there is a lot to discuss. So let's get into the Book of Enoch and talk about what you need to know. Words of the blessing of Enoch, wherewith he blessed the elect and the righteous, who will be living in the day of tribulation, when all the wicked and godless are to be removed. So we're going to talk about the fallen angels a bit here, because this is an important issue that I have addressed several times, and I really want this to sink in. A lot of confusion about these things comes from the fact that these beings go by different identities. Very hard to track. And that is where we look at these ancient texts and recognize who is who in the context given. Now, one of the things we have to keep in mind is that there is the Bible, and then there is Christian mythology. Because the Book of Enoch is not commonly considered canon in many parts of the world, it is considered Christian mythology, and within that mythology, we have some names of angels who fell. See, without this context that was intended to go along with the text of the Bible, there is difficulty understanding who's who. For example, who was the angel that led the other angels to go to earth and take the daughters of men? It wasn't Satan the devil. Shemyaza, good guess, close but not quite. It was Jaquan, and Aspiel, and Gadriel. You know what? I'm telling you, these names are tricky. They appear, disappear, you don't know who's doing what. No joke. Go do some research.
And in the first book of Enoch, it tells you all the fallen angels and their names and their ranks and what their abilities were and what their responsibilities were and what they taught the daughter or women were. They taught them a lot, Israel. So I say their fathers or daughters. They taught them a lot. And not only did they teach the women, they taught the men too how to go to war, how to do breastplates, swords, what gold and metal does to the body, and what they can be used for. Shield plates and armor, they taught them all that. This is why we have the weapons that we have now, because when the fallen angels fell, that's what they taught them. Opposed to laying with the women, having Nephilims, because they thought that the women that they saw that was on earth were beautiful, attractive, and they wanted to have them for themselves instead of doing what their responsibilities were, watching over the earth. Instead, they listened to the higher rank angel, who was going to take the responsibilities of what the punishment was that the Creator was going to give out to them. They suffered, but the head leader suffered the worst. Now the body may be bound in Dudan, but the spirit doesn't. Because how you going to house the spirit, which are called evil spirits now, or familiar spirits? But nevertheless, Israel, fallen angels did things they were not supposed to have done. I said this in my other videos. But you have to keep in mind the mindset of what they taught these humans that was on earth, that corrupted the earth. They was already corrupted, things that they were doing on their own. But once the angels fell, they corrupted the earth even more, even to a point where they were killing each other and killing the humans because they could no more sustain them in their thirst for blood. And then when they had the Nephilims, it really got bad. This is why the Most High, the Creator, flooded the earth, because of the wickedness that was on that the fallen angels taught them. He's going to tell you. Woodward TV.
On gods and fallen angels, and I mean some deep research. You will see names you never heard of. Depending on the translation, it is very difficult to keep up. And understand, this is a bit different from the angel commonly known as Lucifer and his rebellion. Lucifer challenged God in that he could get men to worship him instead. What these angels did was an act of lust and sabotage as well. They just said, freak it.
Sick of all the ads like this one? Just head to adskiller.com, click on Activate Now, add AdsKiller to...
I'm telling you, there is some deep information in angelic studies. For example, how many of you know who the Grigori are? The Watchers. A different class of angel, more human-like than the other angels. These were the angels that interacted with humans as they began to multiply. See, folks, I do not want to distort what you know about this. I just want you to have the most accurate information concerning this, which means you must know about these other takes on the subject to form an educated opinion about the matter. Those of you who may have not heard of this angel, let me fill you in on what the book of Enoch reads. But first of all, when we think of a name like Satan, we usually attribute that to one of the fallen angels. But here in the book of Enoch and other texts, there are Satans, plural. It is not one fallen angel, but a small group of 5. Listen, chapter 69 reads, the names and functions of the fallen angels and Satan's, the secret oath. But let me just give you a bit of context before I show you what it says. When these angels came down to earth, they took it upon themselves to teach mankind certain things, secrets. This, in the eyes of God, was the same as them running around pretending to be God. Another thing to keep in mind is that angels in heaven don't accept worship.
So, this is why I'm saying that the things that they taught the men and women that was on earth was things that should have stayed in heaven on what they knew. fallen angels knew a lot because they were the watchers watching over the earth. And going back to tell the Creator what was the men and women what that was doing on the earth. And when they fell, they taught them everything that they possibly knew, and then some. I mean, they taught them everything. Sky's the limit on the knowledge that they knew. And I was trying to do research on how many different ranks of fallen angels that they were. Not just one set of rank of fallen angels, but different types like the Gregorians, the Anunnakis, and the actual fallen angels, which I'm still doing research on, and I'm going to do a video on that. I also want to try to do a video on how the fallen angels actually look. I want to know, while they were in heaven, how did they look before they transformed themselves on Mount Hermon into men? Because they had to have look creature wise like. You know what I'm saying? And then when they fell and made the pact between all themselves on Mount Hermon to take the responsibilities no matter what it is, just so they can lay with those women and bear children. So they knew when they were in heaven watching over the earth what they wanted to do, because they have been watching these women for a long time, to lust after them, to want to lay with them and sleep with them. You know what I mean? So they can bear children by them. And I'm sure these women were already tall women, big women, but beautiful, so they say. Had to been that attractive to suffer consequences for falling and do the things that you knew when you were when you were an angel that was forbidden. But they didn't care, because in their minds they wanted to do any and everything to those women, and they did, to the point where the women were turned into sirens, so nobody would lust after them ever again. Creator made sure that. So he turned them into sirens. And the angels, evil spirits.
Only God and the fallen. And so because of the unsanctioned interactions with mankind, the punishment was extremely severe. Michael and Raphael were astonished at just at how severe the punishment on those fallen angels would be at the time of judgment. And so it says, listen closely, and after this judgment they shall terrify and make them to tremble, because they have shown this to those who dwell on the earth. Then the book gives you 21 names of the fallen who were under the command of the chief angels, or in this case, the 5 Satans. See here, it was 5 different angels that led this entire movement, not just one. And these are the chiefs of their angels and their names, and their chief ones over hundreds and over 50s and over 10s. Okay, so according to the Cardinal Bishop of Tuscum, the book of Revelation reveals that 1/3 of heaven's angels fell for 9 days. And the estimated number,
to me, it could have been 200 or 200,000. Keep in mind, the Creator had millions of angels. All had ranks and the responsibilities of what they had to do. So it could have been millions of angels watching over the earth, because they were called the Watchers. Who knows how many they were? The book only gives you a certain amount, but we don't really know how many angels there was that actually fell. But you can rest assured it was a lot. It was a lot.
was 133,306,668. And as a result,
I told you, it was a lot.
Leaving 266,613,336 remaining in heaven. Now, Enoch does not name all 200.
But we all know that the Creator can create angels. He can create 1 billion angels if he wants, to take the place of the fallen angels that fell, if he choose to. He speak it and it speaks into existence. So the fallen angels knew exactly what they were doing, but they didn't care. Of the punishment was so harsh, Israel. You find that out in the second book of Enoch. On the first, second, and fifth heaven, on where they reside now, being tormented. They weren't looking at that, but they knew the punishment was going to be severe. The type of punishment that they was going to get, they never knew that until that particular time when Michael the archangel brought the punishment down upon them. See, they went to Enoch and asked Enoch to do a petition for them, to take it to the Creator, to read the petition to the Creator, to be forgiven, to go back to heaven. And the Creator told Enoch that the petition was going to be denied. He told me, you should pray for men and not me, and pray for you. So he denied them their request and told them that they was going to remain on the earth for eternity to the day of judgment, which they were going to be judged, along with the ones that's already in torment. So they knew what the responsibility was, just like we do when we sin, but they didn't care. They wanted them women that bad. And I can't imagine the harsh punishment that those fallen angels had to go through. Like he said in the beginning, it was more that took place in the Garden of Eden than we think. It was just only half of what the Bible tells us. But in the book of Enoch, in the book of Joshua, in the book of Jubilee, in the book of Giants, tells it all. Tells everything. But what we don't know is what we're getting ready to find out. All that took place. Because Enoch was shown everything. And I mean everything. From the beginning of heaven to the 10th heaven. Because there's 10 levels of heaven. So he was shown everything. And I'm quite sure, I said in my last video, that Enoch could understand what those fallen angels were saying. That's why they wanted him to take the petition to the Creator to read, to be forgiven so they can go back to heaven. And the Creator denied it and said no. Told them that their request is denied. So they can't never go back to heaven. And they've been trying to go with the hydrogen collider for the longest. Not going to work. Because they're like Michael said, like Enoch wrote, it can never go back. So request is always going to be denied. But they're not going to stop. So they're going to continue on. Trying to get back into heaven. Whether it's to be in heaven or to war with the Creator's angels. But they want to get back because they were mad because of the sin that they committed. That they were banned from ever coming to heaven. So they're mad at Michael and Uriel and Gabriel. They're mad at them. Because they chose to do what was right. Even though they wasn't part of the fallen angels or the watchers who was watching over the earth. They were still the Creator's ranking angels. who was very obedient to the Creator and took what they have done back to the Creator, and the Creator set out the punishment, and the angels did exactly what the Creator told them to go and do. That's crazy.
That fell in his account, only a few. But it is believed that a few of the angels that fell from each of the 3 spheres, or 9 orders, created a 10th order, retaining their rank. So now, the name of the first, Jaquan, that is, the one who led astray all the sons of God, and brought them down to the earth, and led them astray.
So Zaquan was the one who wanted to take the punishment and put the burden on him, just so the fallen angels can go and fulfill that lust that they have over those women.
Pray through the daughters of men. So this is their ringleader. And the second was named Asbiel. He imparted to the holy sons of God evil counsel, and led them astray, so that they defiled their bodies with the daughters of men. In other words, Asbiel is the one who instructed them on the means of changing form to be with the daughters of men. Now, this next angel is very interesting.
I grew up always on the bigger side as a kid. I was always slightly thicker, big bone.
And the third was named Gadriel. He it is who showed the children of men all the blows of death. And he led astray Eve, and showed the weapons of death to the sons of men, the shield and the coat of mail, and the sword for battle, and all the weapons of death to the children of men. And from his hand they have proceeded against those who dwell on the earth from that day and forevermore. This is the fallen angel who seduced Eve in the Garden of Eden. And we were told it was Satan.
And I'm really beginning to believe Pad Wheel was the one who this fallen angel right here, this demon, was the one who slept with Eve and had Cain. This one here, not Satan, but this thing right here, this it, one of the fallen angels. I'm beginning to believe it's different ranks of fallen angels for a different group of angels, not just one, different groups. And they all have responsibilities, like I said, in what they did. But it wasn't Adam who produced Cain. It was this demon here.
Well, that's true. But as you can see, not the Satan most people think it is. And the fourth was named Peremu. He taught the children of men the bitter and the sweet.
So Peremu was the worst, because he taught good and evil. Isn't it amazing how Padwheel and Peremu and all the different other ranks of fallen angels had very good and bad extinct gifts that they were able to do to get the people to fall, even to serve their gods. Because when they failed, they was no longer holy. They was defiled. And just as the Creator had the fallen angels destroyed, he destroyed the bastards and the reprobates, made them kill each other. So they destroyed so they destroyed pretty much each other. And the fallen angels had to watch while their offspring annihilate each other. Like I said, it was a harsh punishment. So you ask yourself, was it really worth it? Falling and sleeping with them women. A moment of lust for a year, for the rest of your life, torment.
And he taught them all the secrets of their wisdom. And he instructed mankind in writing with ink and paper, and thereby many sinned from eternity to eternity and until this day.
So back then they didn't know how to write. Didn't know how to use ink and paper. They didn't know how to do that. But this thing here taught them to do that. Because he was able to teach them good and evil. Bitter with the sweet. Good and the bad. He taught them all that. This thing here. This creature. This fallen angel. And you notice all that the fallen angels of what TV is showing you, they all look different. This is why I say it was different ranks of angel for different categories of group of angels. And they probably all look the same within that group, within that rank.
For men were not created for such a purpose, to give confirmation to their good faith with pen and ink. Now this is found to be particularly interesting because here it claims that the fallen angels were the ones that taught man how to write, how to record and document, which is something that I guess God did not intend for us to do in the beginning. For men were created exactly like the angels, to the intent that they should continue pure and righteous, and death, which destroys everything, could not have.
Because when they were watchers and angels, they were holy and pure. When they laid with them women, they were nasty, defiled, no longer holy, no longer clean. They had defiled themselves with lust. And lust completely took over them.
Have taken hold of them, but through this their knowledge they are perishing, and through this power it is consuming me. And the fifth was named Kasdea. This is he who showed the children of men all the wicked smitings of spirits and demons, and the smitings of the embryo in the womb, that it may pass away, and the smitings of the soul, the bites of the serpent, and the smitings which befall through the noontide heat, the son of the serpent, named Tobiat. And this is the angel that taught men how to slay demons and spirits. He also taught men abortion. So let me just try and paint a picture for you. Just an overview of the angelic population, just to gain a better understanding of who is who. Now, an angel by several definitions is a spiritual being acting as an agent or a messenger for the supreme being, God. We are not sure exactly how many of them are, but many believe and estimate the population of angelic beings to be in the hundreds of millions, as I've stated before. So, there is a hierarchy. Within this hierarchy, also known as the 9 choirs or orders of angels, there are 3 spheres of angels, and each sphere contains ranks and classes for each type of angel. In the first sphere, there are the seraphim, the cherubim, and the thrones. In the second sphere, there are the dominions or lordships, virtues or strongholds, and power or authorities. And in the third sphere, there are the principalities or rulers.
This is why I told you they have a different ranks of angels. Okay, so you got the archangels, you got the angels, you got the principalities, you got the powers, you got the virtues, you got the dominion, you got the seraphim, you got the cherubim. You got all different ranks of angels. I'm not saying all different ranks of angels were the watchers, but he's just telling you different ranks of the different rank of angels. Within the different rank of angels were chief angels that was chief over those different sets of angels. Could have been 1,000,000, could have been 1,000, could have been 100. We don't know. But we know the Creator have billions of angels. He can speak an angel into existence to do his bidding if that's what he chooses to do. And the cherubim and the seraphim are the angels and the wheels and the powers and the principalities and the archangels and the angels and the virtues are all the Creator's angels.
Archangels and angels. And then there is Metatron, who is supposedly Enoch, in a class.
So when Enoch went to heaven, he couldn't be with the Creator in his physical form. So the Creator turned him into Metatron, one of the Most High's angels. Supposedly, this is what the third book of Enoch is saying. You have to read the third book of Enoch in order to get that type of information. I have read it, and it tells you Megatron is supposed to have been Enoch. But nobody knows for sure. But this is what the third book of Enoch is telling you. You think about it, that all the Creator's angels look creature-like form, right? Didn't look like humans until the Creator needed them, for whatever reason, to be human, to get their duties or responsibilities out. So it's possible that Enoch could have been turned into Megatron, an angel. Because when the Creator took him, he took him for good. Had to have turned him into something. Because that physical form right there in the body, he could not stand before the Creator. Enoch couldn't even look at the Creator. So, Perwheel was the one that froze Enoch's face to be able to look at the Creator. Because he was that fearful and frightening to look at, a flame of fire. This is what second book of Enoch is telling us that I read. So Enoch's face was froze to be able to look at the Creator because he couldn't do it. And this is on the 10th heaven. And the Hebrew name, like I said in my other videos, called Alvat. And this is where Enoch was taken by the two archangels and was put on the Creator's glory robe and the sweet smelling ointment. Because in Enoch's physical form that he was on earth, could not stand before the Creator. Nothing can stand before. Even his own angels cannot look at the Creator. They bow themselves down before the Creator because his glory is so glorious that they could not, the archangels cannot look at the Creator. So imagine what Enoch couldn't do. So Perwheel had to freeze Enoch's face when he brought him up to stand before the Creator, because Enoch had bowed down to the Creator because he couldn't look at him. He was saying he was very, very, very terrifying to look at. You can imagine Enoch was there trembling because the Creator was that fearful, that terrible. Not going to say disgusting to look at, but that terrible to look at. And Enoch was scared. He was trembling. He was fearful because you're standing in front of the Creator. So I can believe that Enoch was probably turned into Megatron. It's possible.
By himself, and the only angel sanctioned to sit at the side of God as his scribe.
Airlines are going to hate me for telling you this, but I found a way to never overpay for flights again. Don't book another trip until you watch the...
So, in this hierarchy is the first sphere, and these are the holy servants or attendants of God, the most holiest and oldest of the angels. They are the caretakers of God's throne and spend their time praising him. The seraphim, or burning ones. They are the fiery angels with 6 wings, 2 covering their face and 2 covering their legs. The other 2 are for flying. Now in Christian angelology, the archangel Michael, who is also of the seraphim, and also known as Michael, many believe is the first angel or heavenly being next to God, and is the angel who descended to earth to become the man we know as Jesus. Keep in mind, the other angels that fell changed their form to human, then procreated with human women to produce giants. Jesus, on the other hand, was a planted spirit and was born in the flesh, so his transition was a little different, and it was sanctioned, meaning it was allowed. You see, the angels, us, animals, plants, we are all sanctioned beings. The hybrid offspring of the fallen angels, not sanctioned. Anything cloned, not a sanctioned being or soul, should I say. Lucifer is also of the seraphim class, as well as Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel. There are quite a few in this class, and I mean several other angels. Of the fallen angels, there were, of course, Lucifer, Satan, Leviathan, and Belial, Abaddon or Apollyon. There are the cherubim, who guard the path to the tree of life in God's throne. They have 4 faces, and 1 of a man, 1 of a lion, 1 of an ox, and 1 of an eagle. They have 4 feet and the hooves of an ox, with a lion's body. Of the fallen cherubim were Azazel, who is also of the seraphim, Beelzebub, and a few others. Then there are the thrones, also described as the fiery wheels of God's throne.
So they were the wheel within the wheel, and they all had wings, and they all have eyes everywhere to see everything daily. Because where the Creator is, there's no time. There's no time there. So these here, wheel within a wheel, with wings and eyes in and out. Don't actually looks like this, but this is a depiction of what he saw, or what he sees. But it's a wheel within a wheel with many eyes all over. And that's to constantly look and to see Israel.
Known as the Ophanim. They are identified as color-changing spheres with many eyes. The purpose of the thrones, they are there to carry God's throne. They also have connections to the planets and constellations. And even more of the thrones fell than the cherubim or seraphim. Do you see the pattern here? It is the same with humans. When our leaders do something, and I'm not just talking about political leaders, but when our parents, our brothers and our sisters, our elders, our friends do something, many of us follow suit regardless of the consequences. Now, so far, the description of these beings, without exception from a human perspective, is quite bizarre. Why is that? Think about this for a moment. With everything we know about science, physics, animal biology, why would an angel need wings at all? Well, not all of them have wings, but I mean, seriously, think about this. Why would God design a being that had 4 heads of different animals, including that of a man? The same description of John Carpenter's The Thing. So, we can only gather that these are more symbolic descriptions rather than actual physical descriptions, of course, unless these are attributes of angels to help them identify each other in regards to rank and age. These descriptions still remain mostly metaphoric. So, in the second sphere, we basically have again 3 classes: dominions, virtues, and powers. Now, these are the angels that are more human-like. They are the ones that we think of as beautiful, glowing humans. By the way, in angelology, there are both male and female angels, although they are most commonly known to be neither sex. Again, we are supposed to be like them, not the other way around.
What?
Chikungunya. It's a disease transmitted by mosquitoes.
I've never heard of it.
Well, now you have. It's been reported in over 110.
Dominions work as the guardians of the other lower class angels. Virtues, they create miracles, they create signs, and the powers are the angels who protect the balance of the universe. That includes fighting demons. They are the battle angels. For the most part, the second sphere of angels, these are the guardians, the police of the universe, who govern the lower body of angels and ensure order in God's kingdom. Again, we have quite a few in this sphere who fell, including Belial, also a seraphim angel, Ariel, Haman, Amy, and a few others. By the way, there was a movie released some time ago called Hereditary. And in this movie, there is a reference to Payment, or King Payment. Needless to say, the story behind this fallen angel is quite interesting. And yes, this is what our children are doing these days for Halloween, dressing up like a demon incarnate. Was this some twisted adult's idea? Because how did this kid end up watching such a film? What's wrong with dressing like a demon on Halloween? You moron. Now, the third sphere, these are the angels that interact with humans. These are the ones that send messages and are ultimately responsible for guiding mankind. Remember, God doesn't do anything directly. He speaks it and it is so. And the angels make certain that it is so. In this sphere, you have principalities who are really the closest human guiding angels, the most influential, especially when it comes to blessings and music and art. Then there are archangels, which is not to be confused with the 7 archangels: Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, Raguel, Remiel, and Sariel. The lowercase a archangels are just above regular angels, the lowest and youngest class, mostly made up of guardian angels, closely guiding and watching over humans. Dagon, Moloch, Arakiel, and Asbiel are of a few in the sphere that fell that you may have heard of. So, according to the Book of Enoch, the Bible, and a few other doctrines, we have the 200 that fell with Samyaza and Jaquan, and the 1/3 that fell with Lucifer, which could have been well over 130 million angels. The majority of them being of the lower or youngest of the angels, in class and age. And just like human children, they can do wrong. However, when it comes to angels, there are no mistakes. All the angels, every single last one, knew of a guaranteed consequence to their actions. Not, I might be banished to hell or destroyed forever. No, they knew what was going to happen to them 100%. You know, one thing I do firmly believe is that man was created by a superior intelligence far beyond our understanding. I did a video on Sumerian mythology and human origins, and the stories, the hierarchy of these entities seems very similar. There is no other being on the planet, no plant, no animal that is as intelligent as human beings. Not one of them even come close. But the dolphins. The dolphins. What about monkeys? They can use rocks and sticks and do stuff. Yeah, they may be as smart as you, but the rest of us, no. Evolution. You know, you want to be a damn dirty ape? That's what you want to be? A descendant of them? Right now, we are living in an age where these once angelic beings rule the world. They really do. And until you realize and accept that, you will never gain a better understanding of what they are doing right now. Until we gather all the information we can on them. That means not omitting information. You see, I believe that a day may come where these entities will reveal themselves. I mean, they have been since the beginning of man. Why stop now? In this book, the Book of Enoch, Christ is discussed, known as the Lord of Spirits. See, many of these texts are suppressed because they simply do not want you to have confirmed beliefs, especially in Christ. Folks, there's a power surrounding this man that is unmatched. There is no other person who is held in such high regard other than Jesus. In the Bible, the Book of Enoch, the Quran, the list goes on. And if we follow any of these angels, then it should be him. They surround us. They live with us. And the longer we take to gather and propagate the truth, the easier it is for them to take us down with them. Last days are upon us. It may be doom and gloom for some, but for those who know the truth, it is not a time for the destruction of the world, but it is a time for the destruction of evil and the opening of the doors for a promising future.